puppet is one of the most foundational and emotionally significant figures in Five Nights at Freddy's, acting as the catalyst that transforms a series of murders into a lingering supernatural tragedy. Unlike many other animatronics, whose identities and motives are gradually pieced together through fragmented clues, the puppet's origins are closely tied to a specific child, Charlotte Emily, often referred to as Charlie. Understanding the puppet requires understanding Charlotte's death, her relationship to her father, and the unique role she plays in shaping the spiritual rules of the series. Charlotte is the daughter of Henry Emily, the co-founder of the original Freddy's establishments and former business partner of William Afton. Her death, depicted in retro-style minigames in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, is one of the earliest chronological tragedies in the timeline. Locked outside a pizzeria by other children and left vulnerable in the rain, Charlotte is murdered by Afton. The scene is simple but devastating. There is no elaborate setup, just isolation, cruelty, and a father's creation unable to fulfill its purpose in time. The puppet, originally designed as a security measure to watch over children, is shown attempting to reach Charlotte as she dies. The imagery of the puppet collapsing beside her body in the rain is critical. Unlike later possessions that occur under ambiguous circumstances, this moment implies direct contact at the moment of death. The puppet does not merely become haunted, it appears to actively merge with Charlotte's spirit. This closeness suggests a bond deeper than random attachment. The puppet was meant to protect her. When it fails, the spirit and the machine become inseparable. What distinguishes the puppet from other haunted animatronics is agency. In subsequent minigames, most notably the Give Gifts, Give Life sequence, the puppet is shown placing masks onto the bodies of murdered children, effectively enabling their possession of animatronic suits. This action reframes the entire haunting of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Rather than the children independently attaching themselves to metal, it is Charlotte, through the puppet, who facilitates their continuation. She becomes a guardian in death, not only a victim. This grants her a unique moral position in the narrative. While other spirits are confused or vengeful, Charlotte appears purposeful. Her role can be interpreted as a response to abandonment. Charlotte dies alone, locked out and unprotected. In death, she ensures that other children are not left powerless. By getting their spirits into the animatronics, she creates a collective force capable of confronting their killer. This suggests that the puppet's actions are not driven purely by revenge, but by protection and solidarity. Thematically, Charlotte becomes the emotional heart of the early tragedies, transforming isolated suffering into shared resistance. The expanded lore in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator further clarifies her identity. The animatronic known as Lefty is revealed to contain the puppet, and Henry's final speech directly addresses his daughter. He acknowledges her bravery and her desire to protect the innocent, even at the cost of remaining trapped. This moment reframes the puppet's long arc. Charlotte is not simply a ghost haunting a machine, she's a child who chose to stay when she might have passed on. Henry's plan to burn the remaining animatronics is, in part, an attempt to free her from that burden. Charlotte's characterization also stands in contrast to other spirits in the series. Where figures like Golden Freddy are often associated with wrath and relentless punishment, Charlotte's presence is more measured. The puppet can be aggressive toward night guards, but its deeper narrative role is restorative rather than destructive. It gives life to the others. It maintains balance. Even its design, a tear-streaked mask with hollow eyes, reflects sorrow more than rage. The tears painted onto its face mirror the grief of a child who never received comfort. Another important aspect of the puppet's origins is its symbolic relationship to creation and responsibility. Henry created the puppet to protect children, especially his own daughter. His invention fails in the most tragic way possible. In response, Charlotte inhabits that very creation, turning it into something that fulfills its purpose more completely in death than it ever did in life. The puppet becomes both a reminder of Henry's failure and a testament to Charlotte's resilience. It is protection born from tragedy. In the broader mythology of Five Nights at Freddy's, the puppet establishes the rules of spiritual persistence. Before remnant and digital consciousness complicate the narrative, the puppet demonstrates that emotion, particularly love and responsibility, can bind a soul as strongly as agony. Charlotte's attachment to the puppet is not depicted as accidental or purely rage-driven. It feels intentional, almost sacrificial. She stays because others need her. Years later, in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, her story approaches its conclusion through the animatronic known as Lefty. Lefty, short for Lure Encapsulate Fuse Transport and Extract, is revealed to be a containment suit specifically engineered by Henry to capture the puppet. Unlike previous events, where spirits bind themselves unpredictably to machinery, this time Henry takes deliberate action. He designs Lefty to lure Charlotte's spirit and hold it safely inside, isolating it from the outside world. The irony is profound. A a father once again creates a machine connected to his daughter, but this time not for protection during life, rather for release in death. When the player salvages Lefty in the game, subtle audio cues and behavior hint at the puppet's presence within. By the end of the game, Henry's recorded speech confirms what many suspected. He addresses his daughter directly, acknowledging her bravery and the burden she carried. He recognizes that she remained behind not out of hatred, but out of a need to protect the innocent and give life to the others. His words imply both sorrow and pride. He understands that she has suffered long enough. The final fire in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator is framed as an act of liberation. Henry gathers the remaining haunted animatronics, including William Afton, Elizabeth Afton, and Charlotte, into one location and sets the building ablaze. Unlike previous fires in the series, this one is intentional, controlled, and accompanied by explicit acknowledgement of the spirits involved. Henry states that for most of them, there is peace waiting after the flames. When he speaks to Charlotte, his tone is deeply personal. He gives her permission to rest. He assures her that her vigil is over. This ending gives the puppet one of the clearest resolutions in the franchise. While other spirits' fates remain ambiguous, Charlotte's release is framed as an emotional closure. The child who died alone in the rain is finally reunited with her father's intention to protect her. The machine that once failed her becomes the vessel through which she fulfills her purpose, and then the instrument of her freedom. The cyclical tragedy that began in an alley ends in a controlled fire, meant to cleanse rather than conceal. Thematically, Charlotte's story stands apart because it is rooted in compassion rather than vengeance. She does not create suffering for its own sake. She gives the other children the ability to act. She becomes the quiet architect of justice, yet never loses the sorrow of what was taken from her. Her final containment within Lefty and the fire that follows symbolize not punishment, but release. In a series often defined by endless cycles of return, Charlotte and the puppet are granted something rare, a deliberate ending. Ultimately, the puppet's origins and Charlotte's story provide the emotional foundation for the series' supernatural framework. Charlotte is the first victim chronologically and the first to act with purpose after death. Through the puppet, she becomes a guardian, a guide, and the quiet architect of the animatronics' rebellion against their killer. Her arc culminates in Henry's attempt to grant her peace, suggesting that her long vigil was never meant to be eternal. In a franchise defined by cycles of suffering and revenge, Charlotte stands apart as a figure of tragic compassion, proof that even within horror, protection and love can endure beyond death.